Hello, my name is Carl Rogers. I am the head of Agile for Hiscox in the UK. I really wanted to develop my professional coaching competency. It'd been an area that I had looked at and done some work with over the last few years. I attended a few meetups and workshops at part of larger events, and I had gone in and used a few models, but I really wanted to go deeper into understanding not just a few model applications of coaching, but actually to understand the mechanics and the ethics and everything that kind of allowed me to understand it from a deeper level. Obviously, the first few days together were fantastic because it was a real opportunity to go and actually meet a cohort of people that we then ended up spending quite a few sessions and weeks with, and I really valued that, even as I look back at it now. I also just remember at one point, I'd come in with the expectation of learning a broader array of models. So, I knew Grow, I knew Oscar, and I was excited about different ones. And then actually, in a day, they just changed the paradigm and said, actually, it's not about models. It's about creating a structured a coaching arc. That really brought me into a very interesting space, looking more at storytelling and narrative-based coaching. And so it's opened up a whole new kind of world of I guess different ways I can explore coaching in the future. Even if I'm not having a coaching conversation, I've integrated a lot of the, I guess the style, ethos, and perhaps almost the coaching persona that I've built into those conversations. I think it's allowed me to build rapport more quickly with a new team since I joined a new organization. And I think it's helped build stronger empathy as well, actually, because I feel like I'm now connecting more directly with people first, and then understanding the bigger picture that we're operating within. So maybe it's a bit too over the top to say allows me to be a bit more human, a bit more connected. I was definitely more task orientated, task focused, or even I guess achievement focused. And following that has allowed me to think more holistically. I think I look first at where is the person, where are they, what is their kind of their capacity in that moment, in that time, to also contribute perhaps to a greater or less extent towards the organization, or versus okay, what do they need in terms of is it more about helping them survive and build a strong space in their workspace, or are they actually ready to push into different areas, or or just generally what's the person's strategy as well as just what's the work that we're doing. I think it's helping my leadership capability first and foremost, because I feel like I'm building a stronger connection with people. I'm able to provide, I think it's been allowing me to build stronger trust or stronger relationships more quickly, which I think is allowing me to be more effectual, down a little bit more, but bring people on a journey. So I'm getting more ideas, more views, more opinions. So actually we're doing better things, and we're able to pivot to actually what the organization really needs from us rather than just what one person my view might be. So I think that's helping just do more and achieve more. I feel like one of the things that I've done as I've come into the organization, right, has been to look at the role and actually, are we positioned to be effective within the organization? And I think that taking a coaching-based approach to those conversations is valuable because it's allowed me to connect with organizational leaders in technology and change and product, for example, with people who interact with agile coaches, scrum masters, for example, and of course, those people in the roles themselves. So we can talk about, well, what is it that you want from the role? What needs do you have? What concerns or fears, opportunities, what growth exists? Allow us to build a more rounded view about how we become resilient, adaptable, and valuable to the organization. This point in time, organizations are moving from creativity into control, and we need answers, we need productivity, we need efficiency, and I guess that's linked to the economy, whereas coaching is always a necessity within those organizations to enable creative thinking. So in my organization, we're doing a lot of work in terms of how do we integrate artificial intelligence and generative AI or large language models, for example, into workflows of people to help improve their productivity. And that's about reimagining how we work. So not just how do we do something a little bit more efficiently, but actually how could things be? And I think as soon as we transition into it, how could things be, we build an opportunity for creativity, imagination, for deeper thinking, and for alternatives that might not necessarily feel like they are immediately accessible towards us, or that there's going to be resistance to those ideas of change, or our own thinking will limit them. For me, it goes back to building empathy and connection. And I found nothing more powerful than asking some curious, open questions. And those clean language questions, for example, really exemplify that for me. And then what happened, or what happened just before, or what else is there? And these are questions which are, they're immensely valuable in many different contexts, not just professionally, but just in like our relationships with one another. Just being a bit more curious openly about the things that matter to other people, I think helps build stronger connections. So these are questions I brought right into the work I do in the voluntary sector, just working in a charity in my local school. And I think that if we all bring a little bit more curiosity and openness and willingness just to learn from others, that at a societal level as well, that'll help create more openness and more willingness to explore new ideas. And I think we definitely need a few more new ideas. So one of the things I'm looking very practically doing is to increasing the amount of time that I spend in a coaching stance, because I believe it's going to add a lot of value in my interactions with my colleagues and my peers and my teams. And for my own professional development, I still have so much more that I want to go and explore. I'm very kind of aware that I'm just at the beginning of a very interesting journey. Narrative coaching was one element that really kind of struck out to me, like the idea of, everyone has a story to tell. And by reframing our own stories, we create new possibilities, we create new perspectives. So I'd love to spend more time exploring what that looks like in a practical sense. Like, how could I start bringing in some of those ideas and approaches into coaching? Definitely recommend doing the course. For me, it was the ability to kind of go through a learning curve, and it's like a small hill, then the higher one up behind it, right? Because I went in with some expectation, some understanding, some belief of what I could do, like some confidence. And then I realized, actually, you know what, there's a far bigger field. So I can it rocked my confidence a little bit, but I had loads of time to practice. I could try out, I could experiment, and then I could start building on that over time. So I could feel and sense my own improvement over time. And I really valued having a program where we were able to meet regularly, but over a period of time where there was enough time, enough opportunity for practice had built in. And then I particularly liked working with Linda and David because they brought so much energy and charisma and personality and frankly humor as well, which really humanized the entire experience. So I felt that it was something that that anybody could go and accomplish once they started to open up. Yeah, so Linda and David, I think they brought in different perspectives and different personalities that actually came together very nicely. They had a very nice rapport. I could feel like they could bounce off one another and the rest of the group. Their personalities were different but not clashing, so I felt that helped bring a broader perspective. Clear that both of those individuals are experienced in the field, but have different approaches, different styles, their own values, right, which aligned, but were, distinctive in their own right, that it allowed us as a cohort to also get different perspectives. So we could say, okay, well, this is what Linda might think, this is what David might think. And they would also talk about it quite openly as well. And I think that gave us a richer experience because we could start making our own judgments about what we believe to be true. Anything I'll add is that it's valuable as an individual in terms of the theory and the application around professional coaching. And I valued the connections I made with Linda and David, but also started to build up a broader network, people that I hadn't been introduced to before, individuals who I'm still working with now, several months at the conclusion of our work. So I think it is a really good way of actually building a stronger network and finding people who've got similar interests and different experiences actually you can start leveraging beyond just coaching.